Everyone, it's Miss Joyce, Miss Milanese, and Miss Wilson. Today we'll be dividing decimals with no remainders using partial quotients. Let's start with 8/10 divided by 2/1. First, we're going to draw our partial quotient symbol. On the inside, we're going to be listing our dividend, or the first number in our division question. We have 8/10, so that's what's going to go on the inside. This is telling us the total amount that we have. The divisor is our second number in our division problem. This is going to go on the outside, 2/1. So we are going to be dividing 8/10 by 2/1. Let's go ahead and list our multiples of 2 to see how close we can get to 8 without going over. We have 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, we got to the exact number we were looking for. 8 is the first, second, third, fourth multiple of 2. So we're going to list 4 on the right side here. We know that 2 times 4 is 8. Now let's get the place value. We want to be in tenths since that's the face value of the total amount that we have. So we know when we multiply anything by ones, it's going to get the other factor. So ones times tenths is going to be tenths. So we're going to subtract 8/10 minus 8/10. We have 0/10. We know we're done dividing when we have 0 left over. Everything to the right is going to be our answer. So to the right of our division symbol, it says 4/10. Let's rewrite this in standard form. We're going to place a 4 in the tenths place and a 0 in the ones place. Remember, the decimal point always goes between the ones and the tenths place. So our answer to 8/10 divided by 2 is 4/10.
So if I'm starting with 1500ths, I'm going to put 1500ths in my partial quotient symbol. I write it out in unit form. That's the dividend. Then I'm going to take the divisor, which is 3 ones, and put that outside of the partial quotient symbol. Now I'm doing 3 ones into 1500ths. So I'm going to list my multiples to see how close I can get. 3, 6, 9, 12. If you think, okay, 12 is pretty close, I'm going to say, okay, that's the 1, 2, 3, 4th multiple. So I put 4 on the outside because there are 4 groups of 3 and 12. So I get 12, and then I need to get my units. So I'm going to multiply anything by ones is itself. So I have 400ths, and I get 1200ths. Now I'm going to subtract 1500ths minus 1200ths is 300ths. So I'm not done because I haven't gotten to 0 yet. So I need to keep going. If I look back at my multiples, my first multiple was 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. Hundredths times ones is hundredths. So I get 300ths. Then I subtract and I get 0 hundredths. Now I need to add everything to the right of my partial quotient symbol to figure out how many groups of there are. So I do 400ths plus 100th, and I get 500ths. I'm going to put that into my place value chart to help myself rewrite it into standard form. So I put 5 in the hundredths. There's nothing in the tenths or the ones, so I put 2 zeros. And remember, there's always a decimal between the ones and the tenths. So I'm going to write it as 0 and 500.
All right, so next we are going to be dividing 525 thousandths divided by 5. I'm going to write 525 thousandths in unit form inside the division symbol. And I'm dividing it by 5 ones. 525 is a really big number, so I'm not going to write out multiples, but I'm going to use my knowledge of multiplication to figure out what can get me as close to 525 as possible. When I'm working with big numbers, I like to start out by multiplying by 100. 5 times 100 is 500. That's pretty close to 525. Then I do ones times thousandths is thousandths. Now I subtract. 525 minus 500 is 25 thousandths. So now I'm figuring out what can I multiply by 5 to get as close to 25 thousandths as possible. This is a familiar fact. 5 times 5 equals 25. Ones times thousandths is thousandths. Subtract, and I'm left with 0. Now I need to add up what I have on the right of my division symbol. So 100 thousandths plus 5 thousandths is 105 thousandths. And now to rewrite this in standard form, I always put my last digit into the name of the place value at the end of the unit form. So the 5 goes in the thousandths place. So the 0 will go in the hundredths, the 1 in the tenths, a 0 in the ones, and a decimal point always goes between the ones and the tenths.